Bang, bang. Ace here with another podcast powered by Forever Phoenix. And if you're new to our channel here, make sure that you keep listening. It's not a coincidence that you're here. We cover a lot of topics dealing with spirituality. And if you are a returning Forever Phoenix villager, welcome back. Welcome back to another podcast. A number of months ago, I believe it was right around the middle of March, right after this event really started to take root in this country. Annette and I huddled up in a meeting and we said, you know what, we need to take our message and need to put it out on a platform. So we decided that we would meet, twice a week. And it started off with us doing a Sunday meditation for the planet every Sunday. And then we would do a Thursday community gathering session where we just had everybody meet up on Zoom and we would talk about a lot of the topics that, we were experiencing as we go through this event. And then during a meditation, I was just led to, hey, Ace, you got to start recording content and putting it out there because this year, the year 2020, is going to be talked about for hundreds and thousands of years. So I'm on a mission or a quest to chronicleize and to record a lot of different things that we're experiencing this year. And I feel that they're going to be served and used as valuable teachings and lessons um, later on in the future. But I could remember when we started all this and we wanted to get on YouTube and a couple other social media platforms. My whole goal was okay, how do I get out here and how do I position us to have 1 billion listeners tomorrow? I wanted 1 trillion listeners in the first episode. So I spent countless hours just reading up and watching YouTube videos and reading different articles on how to scale up your channel, how to get subscribers, people listening. And the information, it was just so overwhelming. It's just like, I don't have time. I run multiple businesses. I have a family. We even have a dog now. It's just so much going on in my life that I didn't have time to really sit down and come up with this big grand marketing scheme on how to get Forever Phoenix content out there to the masses. And then after meditation, it just hit me that Ace, just create the content. Focus on creating the content, and the content will find the listeners. Listeners like you that are listening now. And the other thing that I found interesting was that there are a number of individuals that I follow today that I listen to and that I watch some of their video content. And as I go back to the very first video they did, the very first audio podcast that they did, they all started like we're starting now with just a few listeners, one listener, two listeners, and then the audience grew from there. And what's really cool was to see their transition from their first video done in the dark almost in some basement in some cellar type setting, to now they have got lights and they've got the cool thumbnails and they've got the big website behind them. But it was a transition. It wasn't how they started. They just didn't walk on the scene and have 1 billion listeners and subscribers. So we are following the same format. We are starting from where we are now and we're going to grow this. We're going to start with you. We're going to start with you sharing this content with others and others sharing the content with others. It is my firm belief that as individuals begin to search for information, the information like this will automatically find them. I'm a big energy guy. I believe that the magic happens in the invisible world. And so I'm setting the intention that, hey, our channel, Forever Phoenix, all the content that we put out here, Annette and myself, it's going to start with one listener and grow to 16 listeners and then 160 listeners to 1,600 listeners, 16,000, 160,000, and on and on and on. I truly believe that that is the direction that we're going to go in. And I'm not going to try to devise some huge marketing scheme. We're going to create the content, it's going to find you, and we're going to keep it moving. And the other thing that I had to recognize is that content that practitioners like Annette and myself and so many other people in this space, the work that we do, it's not all that popular right now. It really isn't. It's not as popular as the Will and Jada entanglement episode, which just went all over the internet. You know, the entanglement situation that's been talked about and gossiped about like for so many weeks. No, it's not as sexy as that, but it should be. You know, this content isn't as popular as a dunk made by one of our favorite basketball players or a catch by one of our favorite football players or one of our soccer players kicking the ball in the goal. It's not as popular, but it shows where the vibration of society is. It shows where our attention is. It shows what we give value to. And I believe in the very near future, things are going to flip. And hey, I'm like anybody else. I enjoy a good basketball game, I enjoy a good football game. But when you're looking at the way things are now, where doctors have to struggle to find monies to come up with cures for certain diseases, while basketball players get paid millions of dollars for making a 3 point shot. I think you would agree that maybe we have our interest focused on the wrong thing. You know, our teachers aren't as valued as they should be. You know, individuals that work on developing the human mind, the human psyche, that's not as valued as an individual catching a ball or kicking or hitting a ball. At least the pay is nowhere near balanced at all. So it just shows us where we are right now as a planet, right now as a human species. We are still on this mission to continuously evolve, and I believe in the future, things and information like this will be highly valued. Information and content like this will be highly regarded. And I still think there'll still be an entertainment value, but I think things would be probably be more imbalanced moving into the future than where we currently are right now. And that is not me saying it's a good or bad thing. I am just pointing out where we are as a human species in our vibration right now. So it's going to take a lot of individuals like you and myself to be the essential workers of the planet and to continue to be the example, to continue to put out this information and put out this knowledge. Because again, I really feel moving forward, content like this will be used to help individuals become better and to create and represent the example that we want to see in humanity and our day to day dealings with one another. So I want to jump right into the podcast content today. And I want to talk about humanity because I really feel that humanity is waking up. One by one, two by two, more people are awakening And they're awakening in the midst of everything that's taking place right now. They're waking up in the midst of the loud noise of the lower vibrations that continue to surface and almost hit us and beat us down every day. I remember when this event, that's what I call the coronavirus situation, I call it the event. I remember when the event started in March, and you couldn't go to your banking app, you couldn't go to your email, you could not go to any website without some banner being across the screen reminding you that the coronavirus is here. It is though that, hey, we want to remind you to stay in fear of this virus. And it's scary because it's just not the virus. There's a whole bunch of other ugliness that's all showing up during this same time frame, and it's showing up all at once. And yet we, the light workers of this planet, you and I, we are all playing our part as we alchemize this dense energy that's bubbling up to the surface. We're working through figuring out how to deal with the illusions of division that is playing out right now, that is so strong that we have no choice but to claim and settle into our truth. I mean, right now, take a look at the first 6 months of 2020 and everything that is playing out. Everything. And if you happen to be listening to this video in 2021, just want to put some context. Right now, in the first 6 months of 2020, these are the things that right now in our society we're dealing with on our planet. We're dealing with many things that are doing nothing but creating division. The most obvious one, rich versus poor, white versus Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter, Democrats versus Republicans, to wear the mask or not, vaccine or no vaccine, and should the vaccine be mandatory? We're coming up on the school year, the big debate. Do we send our kids back so they have in-person schooling, or do we do it virtually? To defund the police or reform the police? And then you throw on top of that, we're in an election year in the most famous country on the planet, United States. So we're in an election here in the US. We're dealing with pedophiles, all that surfacing, protesting, the effects of 5G. What's going on with digital currency? Is it coming? Is the dollar collapsing? We're fighting and dealing with lockdowns, human trafficking, all of this. I can't remember another time period in my life where we were hit with so much at once. And in this third dimensional reality, no one knows what the hell is going on. You know, people talk about the science. Well, you even have the scientists that can't agree on what the science means and what should be done about it. The type of control that we've enjoyed individually for so long, the type of control that we've been used to operating in and operating with, is totally gone now. It's totally gone now, because every day we have to walk out our house and put on a mask, and the mask is a reminder that fear is in the air. The mask is a reminder of all the things that have kept us separated from one another. But you know what the cool thing in all of this is? The cool thing is this. Here we are in this present time. I'm recording this in August 2020, and yet we are still here. We are still good, and we're still navigating through all of this the best way we can. And you and I need to pat ourselves on the shoulder because we've been thrown so much, and we're doing the very best that we can do. And that is to be commended. Because when we look back at this time, I don't think there's ever been a period of time where the human species has been inundated and has been attacked from so many different areas all at once. And here we are, championing through all of this. And we're getting through it. Whether we believe it or not, we are. But I believe that all of this boils down to two narratives that you and I have to understand about ourselves individually. And these are the two narratives. Are we living in fear or are we living in faith? Because those are the only two options. It all, bottom line, goes back to those two narratives. You know, when this event first started and it got really going with some momentum, I remember I was in my office. It was March, I believe it was March 9th, and they shut my business down. Like, are you effing kidding me? Like, I've been on this planet for a number of decades and I've never had my business shut down. But I could remember that when this thing first started, I operated in fear, and it's totally rational. So don't feel bad if you did the same thing or if you find yourself operating in fear now, because see, we will always default to what we know it's safe when we don't understand what's going on. So Ace got defensive. That was me. And since I'm a natural rebel, look, I had my uniform on. Okay. I was straight up in protection mode. And I had a us versus them mentality. Hey, I'm ready for the fight. That's just where I was. And then as time went on, a couple months into the game, as time kept moving on, and I'm seeing the different episodes of what I called season one of the event play out, I started to see through the illusion. You ever watch a Lifetime movie and about an hour into the movie, you already know who the villain is. You may not know what's going to happen next, but you already know who the bad guys are. And you know the agenda. Well, that's how I feel that I'm at right now. I feel like I'm watching a Lifetime movie called The Event. And now that I'm in season two, episode one, I can clearly see what's going on. But it's important for us to understand this. And this is something that I had to come to within myself, within my truth. And it's this, and I want you to pay attention to this if you can. There will always be agendas that come at us. There will always be an agenda by the one percenters to try to control you and can try to control us and to keep us divided. That's not going anywhere. There will always be an attack against the masses, an attack of some kind. So agendas are going to change. Attacks are going to change. This is a different type of warfare. It's not being used with guns and bombs, at least not yet. It's a different type of warfare going on. But the big thing that I had to recognize in all this is not so much focus on the agenda. It's good to recognize the agenda. It's better to understand the truth that you're operating with. I'm going to repeat that again. It's okay to understand the agenda, but it's better to know the truth that you're operating in. And what I mean by that is this: regardless of what they do, who are you being through this whole process, through all of this chaos? Who are you being and who am I being? That's most importantly, because if we can control ourselves individually, control our emotions, control how we think, control our intention, control our energy, if we have that intact, they can't get to us. It's like Nelson Mandela. They locked him up for what, so many years, but he never considered himself locked up. He always considered himself a free man, even though they had him in a prison. We have to operate and look at things in the same light. Okay, they're running their agenda, they're attacking us this way, they're creating division this way, but who are you and I going to be to that? We can play their game or we can play our individual game. And see, if you play your game and I play my game and we play it together collectively, they can't win. And that's the critical thing about everything that's going on. I'm going to give you an example. The mask was a huge issue for me. Yeah. I'm like, what? Wear a mask? And I'm going to tell you why it was a huge issue for me. It is very simple. I don't like being told what to do. I don't feel that any government institution should tell the people what to do. If you own a business and you say, hey, this is my business and you have to have a mask on to come in here and buy my goods, well, then you're entitled to have that rule about your business. And then I'm entitled to make a decision as to, are your goods that important to me that I need to wear a mask? And if they are, I'm going to wear one, come in, get the goods, and move on. Okay. So I had a problem with the government telling me what to do. It had nothing to do with the mask. I don't like being told what to do. I'm a rebel. Okay. And I have some other reasons, but that's what it is. And then it hit me one day, Ace, what's the freaking big deal about the mask? And then I realized that I was operating in ego. And then I was told that, Ace, it's about the energy behind you wearing the mask. That's what's important. And so a light bulb just went on in my head. I'm like, okay, I get it. So I've been wearing my mask, for the last couple months, and but my vibration has changed to the point where now now I have a different energy that I hold behind the mask, which makes wearing the mask not relevant. Okay. But this is the truth that I really understand about this whole mask situation. Some people wear the mask because of fear. Like flat out, some people walk out their house every day and they're like, I don't want to catch this virus. And the mask is going to protect me. And I also feel on top of that that the mask helps with people's anxiety as well. So there's a segment of the population that feel that the mask protects them, and that's their truth. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's another group of people that wear the mask out of respect for others. Because, and you know what? I had to kind of like, I'm like that too. It's like, you know what? If me wearing a mask is going to make someone else feel comfortable, I'm going to wear it. So I understand that as well. So some people are wearing it out of respect to others. They don't want to, hey, If you feel fearful, I'm here to reassure you by wearing a mask that there's nothing to fear. Okay. There's another group of people that are just wearing it to play the game. Hey, you know what, Ace? I was talking to a business partner of mine a couple months ago, and she flat out told me, so look, Ace, I'm just playing the game. And I'm like, okay, I understand that. And then there's another group of people that aren't affected at all by wearing a mask. So every one of us has our individual truth. And I'm using the mask as an example as I talk to you here, because it's something we all can relate to. Even though the other side of it is like, and I don't know why I'm going off here. To me, the mask has separated us more. The seeing people smile, seeing the facial gesture, the eye contact. I remember as a kid, and I used to drive through the neighborhood, and I'd be able to pull up at the light and see a honey in the car next to me. And, she smiles and I smile. I wave her over. We pull over into a parking lot. I get her number. I wonder how people date with masks on. Like, how do you pick up the digits in public with a mask on? What is the connection? You have your mask on, I have my mask on. How does that work? I just feel that the situation has separated us more than anything else. And again, I'm just having fun with this, but I realize that what's truly important is the vibration that one is holding with the mask. It's the vibrational energy behind the mask wearing. The root vibration, is it rooted in fear or is it rooted in faith? That's the question. It's not about the piece of cloth you have on your face, it's the invisible vibrational energy behind it. Back in March, actually, this was March 21st, I made an entry in my journal, and I quote, I guess I'm quoting myself: humans are powerful beings and should be able to express this power and not feel helpless. They are stronger than any virus. I'm going to repeat that again. Humans are powerful beings and should be able to express this power and not feel helpless. They are stronger than any virus. And I make this point because I truly believe, and again, this is not a podcast about we should not wear masks. I'm beyond that. I'm wearing it. We're all wearing it. It this statement is about the vibration that we're holding behind the mask wearing. And I forgot that I wrote this. It came to me after an hour and a half meditation, and I found it while preparing for this podcast. But again, the question is, what energy are you holding through all of this? Is it based in fear or faith? People come to me with, the examples of all the different people that have died because of this virus. And no one is happy with any type of loss of life. I believe as I record this podcast in the US, we've had over 160,000 deaths um, due to this virus. And, there's debate on the number. Some people say that it's one thing to die of COVID 19 versus dying with it, but the number is what it is. 160,000 people is 160,000 people that have transitioned because of this virus. But I also feel that on the other side of the coin, we should celebrate the lives of the people that have recovered. the fear is real, and the fear is it's not only real, it's out here more than ever. We feel it. And I just wonder how you are working on shifting that fear. And the question that I have is, why is so much fear present? Why is so much fear present? Think about it. Does one possess just as much faith? If I were to put you on the spiritual scale right now, would you weigh more in fear or weigh more in faith? Do you have massive fluctuations in your fear faith weight? Or do you hold one more than the other? It's something for you to think about. What is the energy that goes back to you within your being? Do you weigh more in faith or do you weigh more in fear? I feel at this point there is more fear that's surfacing and bubbling up on the planet, but I 1 trillion% believe that energetically, collectively, as a human species, we hold more energetic faith. And that's something totally different. So, yeah, more fear is surfacing. And all of this is deep because we're clearing so much. I mean, going back to the list that I talked about not too long ago, all the polarities are showing up. We're dealing with more fear, but I have to believe that our faith is more expansive and stronger than even all the fear that is bubbling up right now. Because the fear has to bubble up if we're going to move to a better society, if we're going to move to a fifth dimensional existence on this planet, we have to clear out all of the things that have been rooted and gutted on this planet, all of the dense energy that's been here. We have to get rid of it. When you think of human trafficking and pedophiles, this just didn't start a year ago. This has been going on for thousands of years. Thousands. It's bubbling up now because we have to clear it. So remember, while you may be experiencing some faith in the physical third dimensional realm, understand that your collective power, you are stronger and bigger than anything that you're facing. You have to tap into that belief. You have to tap into that well, that reservoir of massive faith that has held you together all this time, and know that you're bigger than anything that you're facing. How are you dealing with this? How are you dealing with the different things that appear in your energy grid? Because I can tell you this isn't the time to suppress anything. This is the time to feel it and let it pass. Feel it, sit with it, recognize it for what it is, and allow your energy, allow the light within you to alchemize it and to transfer it. Remember, we're alchemizing this dense energy. And as we purge, we replace what we purge with love and light. And the more love and light that you and I can create on this planet, the more denseness we move out. And this is why my opening statement about more and more people awakening, more and more people searching, more and more people recognizing that they are more than just this pound of flesh. We're more than what we just see in the physical. This allows us to take humanity into a totally different direction, to put us in a totally different a grid of time, to help escape the matrix and realize who we are. Because I want to leave you with this. I want you to understand that you are immortal, you are eternal, and you cannot be destroyed. Find the truth about that within you. Sit with yourself. At this point in time, self and spending time with self is one of the most important things that you can do for self. In other words, get away from the cell phone, get away from the radio, get away from the TV, get away from people, and spend time with self. You know, people talk about social distancing. You also have to social distance from negative people as well, probably 6 times the distance. But again, the whole key is that during this time, as we're all evolving, as we're all growing through this event, this period of time, spending more time with you will allow you to get to know you better. You get to know you better, you start to master you, then it becomes more about your truth and less about the agenda. So with that, thanks for being here with me. You know, share this message with anyone you feel needs to hear it. Love and respect. And I look forward to talking to you in the next audio podcast. Talk to you soon.